Rajiv, Salin, and friends. As Simon said, we want to make it a little more informal, so I'm going to go a little more grassroots and try not to repeat what you've heard in the opening sessions and also my previous speakers. So I'm going to take some examples and concentrate in a few areas and end by giving an example of where the British and Indian competitive advantage could be and how we found that. I'd like to take three areas which the government is going to spend a lot of money in immediately. By far the largest one right now is water and wastewater. They're going to be spending something like 10 to 15,000 crores every 2-3 months. That's their plan. Even if they take 6 months to spend it, it's about 10 times or 20 times what they were contemplating it. There's scope for everything: consultants, financiers, partners, and we're not talking about just the Ganga. We're talking about municipalities wanting to do sewage treatment, wanting to do water treatment. We're talking about waste to energy is a little difficult because we don't separate our garbage, but there is a huge potential there of power generation. We are, sanitation is a huge problem. 40% of diseases in India are waterborne. So government is fully aware of it, and these mechanisms are working well. Who is taking the initiative? Japan. Huge funding from Japan. JICA. A lot of money JICA has given for these programs. The US, Canada are all there. France, as you know, they have companies which run cities and do that. So they're very much there. And these programs that the government has done is actually allowing you to take the operations management. Our own company is doing a third of Agra, running a third of Agra's water supply for 15 years. So it's pretty good investment. That's one area. The second area is power, but power not necessarily the oil and gas area. I mean, that's a little difficult one. So I would, if I were a foreign investor, look at the renewables area. You have problems of wind energy here. You don't have the land. We have plenty of land for wind, solar, and non-fossil fuel. That's biomass and other areas. That's a big, big scope. And when we talk about power, you talk about all the components of power. Not just power generation, power distribution. Distributed power is something India has to go to. We cannot just have 5,000-10,000 megawatt power plants because there are land issues, there are environmental issues, there are clearance issues. They take much longer to get off the ground. So I think the opportunity is there because the politician has to have good water and good electricity. He won't get elected. So he has already concentrated on these two things as something he has to do in the next 2-3 years before his next election comes up. I think what Sunil just mentioned, a new area that Prime Minister Modi has opened is defense. It is really going to be a big, big area for all types of. And slowly, unfortunately it's taking too long, we are moving away from the public sector dominance in defense manufacturing in India. So these are the opportunities, and I don't mean the large companies only. If you're a supplier to BAE or if you're a component manufacturer to someone else, there is scope for you to partner. You don't have to necessarily only be a Grumman or something of that type. So these are the some of the areas. Now I just wanted to give you an example, or our example, of why is India competitive? Why can India be competitive? In manufacturing, the section on manufacturing, we manufacture steam turbines. We're now the second largest producer of steam turbines in the world under 30 megawatt. And we have a collaboration with GE from 30 to 100. And GE is not going to produce these turbines anywhere else in the world, except in Bangalore. Why would they do that? Only because we are competitive. We are 15% cheaper landed in Mexico to Brazil. Because it's a combination of R&D, it's a combination of engineering, And it's a combination of global sourcing. So make in India doesn't necessarily mean you're making 100% there. You are doing the main assembly, the main manufacture there. But we are of the type now that you can globally source. And depends on where you want to source from. So the concept of make in India, please don't think of it as 100% in India, because you can't do that. The new norm in India today, and the people coming out of universities all subscribe to that, is customer satisfaction, delivery, quality. So we are able to meet global standards. Otherwise you wouldn't be having these collaborations. They will not give their brand name with that. Our company, for example, was 15% export. We're today 45%. We're now selling to about 70 countries. For manufacturing industry in India, if they're not global, they have a problem remaining. The domestic market may be huge, but they cannot concentrate only on the domestic market. Now, for this, they do need partners. And they need small-scale partners, because that's how the industry is. We all subcontract a lot of our business. So you need to really have these partnerships. And I would encourage more of the medium-sized companies to look at that, because they've been suppliers here, and you don't necessarily have to go with your main supplier. You can go otherwise to many companies in India. The advantage that we have in India in manufacturing over the two competitors I view is, one is China, of course, and second is Brazil, is language and the ability to go and service a product in very difficult environments. You know, all of you know that Indians can go and service it, whether it's in Lapland or in the Middle East. They're ready to do that. They're ready to stay there. Now, in this, we need service centers. So I think the UK is a classic place for a partnership, for one simple fact: the language. The Chinese can't manage it. So we have a common language, and it's much easier to do business if we have a center here. A center here, not to service the UK, a center to service quite a lot of the region. And you can have subsidiaries originating from the UK, which is what we've thought. Your tax regime is good. Local tax is not quite low. There's no taxation on incomes coming in and out. It's an ideal place to set up a center, with manufacturing from India and some finishing work done here. I think that's the real combination, rather than just one thing happening in one place or one thing we manufacture in the UK. So I would encourage you to use this model in many other products, because it certainly works for us, and we think it can work in many other places. The competitiveness of India in this line is going to grow, because you are having more and more people coming out who are technically savvy. You're having an explosion of e-commerce. You're having an explosion of smaller software companies, not just the very large ones. And these bring engineer-to-order businesses, not the mass-scale businesses, where I think China does have a definite edge to bear. This is also a place where, even though I have a lot of respect for Chancellor Merkel and Germany, I think their cost structure is difficult to match what we are doing in India, whether you go to manufacturing 4.0 or not. But you can substitute those sophisticated manufacturing, advanced manufacturing in India as well, because the funding is not a problem. Now, I think the crux is, how do you get small and medium people to leave their businesses and travel? And that's a difficult thing. I'm putting one or two problems on the table. I meet so many of them here, and they say, well, you know, I agree with you, but how do we get out there? And it's going to take so much time, and we don't have that time, and it costs a lot of money. I would appeal to the CBI and the UK government to find a better mechanism of getting them over, and we certainly can facilitate their interaction with other people. And from manufacturers like myself, I think the single biggest problem in the UK here is for manufacturers, for visas to complete jobs. You see, this visa is not an immigration issue. It's a job creation issue for the UK. Because if you sold a machine, the customer wants you to service it. He wants to have the manufacturer here for 3 months to put it into. So that's what we have to facilitate. And that's still awfully difficult. I mean, it's a myriad. We go to UKTI, then you go to consultants, and for small and medium businesses, it's not easy. And I would ask CBI to take a little bit of a lead. You'll have many more companies wanting to put up these assembly type of operations jointly in India and in the UK. I feel that the notion of these visas being an immigration issue, I mean, it may be technically immigration, but it's not immigration. They don't want to stay more than 3 months or 2 months. And they may come again, they may not come again. So we need to have a little bit of a difference. And the second is that I think UK should say that their tax system is pretty good. We've done a lot of survey on this, and it's a pretty good system to actually open offices here. It's not bad. I'd like to end by mentioning that the publicity that India is now getting with the Prime Minister Modi is there. There's an expectation that, you can suddenly make everything quickly and start manufacturing very fast. We've had a hiatus, for 3-4 years, nothing happened. So it is going to take a little time. But believe me, I do expect over 10% growth to come in India in the next 18 months. Thank you.